Chapter 1: The Sounds of Confinement. As the ambient echoes of confinement surround us, we are drawn into the stark reality of life behind bars. The resonant clang of cell doors slamming shut reverberates through the air, blending with the distant shouts of guards and the low murmurs of inmates. Here, time flows differently, marked not by the ticking of a clock, but by the rhythmic shuffle of feet on concrete floors. The narrator's voice breaks through this cacophony, inviting listeners into this complex world, where despair often intertwines with flickers of hope. The soundscape fades, leaving only the haunting echoes of lives interrupted, dreams deferred, and moments of introspection. As we embark on this audio journey, we will witness the resilience and humanity hidden within these walls, a stark reminder that even in the bleakest of places, stories of redemption and transformation are waiting to be told. Chapter 2: Diary Entry 1: The Before Times. As I sit on the edge of my narrow cot, the memory of my life before these walls washes over me like a distant melody. I was a teacher, a passion ignited by my love for sharing knowledge, for sparking curiosity in young minds. I recall the laughter of my students, their eager faces lighting up as we explored the world together through books and discussions. But that joy, that connection, shattered one fateful day. An argument escalated into chaos, and in a moment of anger and fear, a life was lost, and I was condemned to this unforgiving place. Every day I confront the weight of my guilt, a burden I can never shed. The classroom, once a sanctuary, feels like a lifetime away, and I often wonder if my students still remember me. In these prison walls I seek redemption, wrestling with the shadows of my past, hoping for a chance to teach again, someday. Chapter 3: Guilt and Reflection. As Lucas sits on the edge of his narrow bunk, the stark reality of his guilt envelops him like a heavy shroud. Memories flood his mind, echoes of laughter in the classroom, eager faces of his students, and a life filled with purpose and promise. But that one moment of rage, that fateful confrontation, shattered everything. He recalls the instant the words turned venomous and a life was taken, leaving him bound by chains both physical and emotional. In his diary, he painstakingly documents his relentless internal monologue, grappling with the weight of his mistake. Each entry becomes a cathartic release, blending sorrow and introspection as he reflects on the consequences of his actions. Through the jagged lens of guilt, Lucas begins to search for understanding and forgiveness, not only from others but from himself, a journey toward redemption, where acceptance may flicker like a distant flame amidst the shadows of his remorse. Chapter 4: Diary Entry 2: Sisterhood in Shadows. Maya. In the dim light of her cell, Maya begins her entry, the scratch of her pen against paper echoing her need to express the unspoken bonds formed in this unforgiving place. "We are more than just numbers, we are a family," she writes, reflecting on the profound sisterhood that has blossomed amid daily struggles. Each day they share whispered secrets, laughter, and tears, creating a sanctuary within the chaos of prison life. Maya describes the harsh realities of confinement, the clamor of guards, the anxiety of daily routines, but emphasizes the strength she draws from her fellow inmates. "In this cold environment, we find warmth in each other," she notes, detailing how they celebrate small victories and support one another during tough times. Despite their circumstances, the sense of belonging and camaraderie offers a flicker of hope, reminding Maya that even behind these walls, love and resilience can thrive. Chapter 5: Daily Struggles. Maya's voice resonates with strength and resilience as she delves into the daily struggles of life within the prison's cold confines. She describes the relentless routines that dictate her days, from the harsh wake-up calls to the monotonous sounds of metal clanging shut. The fight for respect is ever present as she navigates the nuances of power dynamics among the inmates. Maya speaks candidly about the constant challenges of maintaining dignity in an environment that seeks to strip it away. Yet amid the chaos, she finds solace in the bonds formed with her fellow inmates, sisterhood emerging from shared experiences and mutual understanding. The laughter that echoes off the walls becomes a refuge, reminding her that even in darkness, joy can flourish. In powerful moments of vulnerability, she reflects on her past and the choices that brought her here, emphasizing how her identity as a fighter is intertwined with the struggles she faces daily. Chapter 6: Diary Entry 3, The Artist Within. Carlos settles into the dim light of his cell, sketchbook resting on his knees, a pencil gripped tightly in his hand. Here, amidst the cold concrete and barred windows, I find a sliver of freedom, he writes. Each stroke transforms the blank pages into vibrant storytelling canvases, graffiti-inspired art pulsating with life and emotion. He recalls the exhilaration of spray paint dancing on walls back in the world outside, but now he uses words and images to express the chaos within. Art is my lifeline, he reflects, sharing how drawing becomes a coping mechanism, providing solace from the suffocating atmosphere of confinement. Moments of inspiration ebb and flow like the shadows cast by flickering lights. The contrast between his surroundings and the beauty he creates illustrates resilience. Through his art, Carlos not only reveals his innermost struggles, but also connects with a piece of his identity, an artist defying the barriers that seek to confine his spirit. Chapter 7. Art as Healing. In the dim light of his cell, Carlos surrounds himself with scraps of paper and makeshift art supplies, transforming his concrete confines into a vibrant studio. Each stroke of his pencil becomes a therapeutic release, allowing him to confront emotions that would otherwise fester in silence. He shares, "Art allows me to speak without words. Every line captures a fragment of my soul." For Carlos, graffiti is more than fleeting rebellion. It's an exploration of identity and a means to process trauma. As he sketches, he reflects on the stark contrast between the bleak prison walls and the colorful worlds he creates. Transformative moments arise when he quietly observes his fellow inmates, drawing inspiration from their shared struggles and stories. Through art, Carlos finds not just solace, but a renewed sense of purpose, a glimpse of who he is beneath the weight of incarceration, reminding listeners that creativity can flourish even in the darkest of places. Chapter 8. Diary Entry 4. Lessons from the Dark. As I sit in the small, dimly lit room, surrounded by children eager to learn, I can't help but feel an overwhelming sense of purpose. Participating in the mentorship program has opened my heart in ways I never imagined. Each week, I watch as the children share their dreams and struggles, their innocence reminding me of the beauty and fragility of life outside these walls. I reflect on my journey and the mistakes that brought me here. It's a complex tapestry woven with pain and regret. Yet as I witness these young faces light up with hope, I realize the power of connection goes both ways. My role is not just to guide them, but to learn from their resilience. In these moments, we find solace together, a rare glimpse of light in a world often overshadowed by darkness. Each session reinforces my belief that redemption is possible, even behind these walls. Chapter 9. The Impact of Connection. Vivian's voice trembles with emotion as she recounts a particular mentorship session that changed her perspective. Sitting across from a bright-eyed 10-year-old named Mia, she was struck by the weight of their conversation. Mia spoke of her dreams to become a doctor, yet she also revealed the fear of losing her father to a life behind bars. It was a moment of raw vulnerability for both, illuminating the generational impact of incarceration. For Vivian, it became painfully clear how vital these connections were, not just as a mentor, but as a lifeline. As she reflects on the laughter, the tears, and the shared stories, she understands that the program is not merely about teaching. It's about healing and bridging the gap between two worlds. Each session becomes a microcosm of hope, showing her that these interactions have the power to dismantle the barriers built by circumstance and to forge paths toward brighter futures. Chapter 10. Diary Entry 5. The Price of Freedom. Jerome. As I sit here in my cell, the weight of nearly 3 decades behind these cold, gray walls crushes me. Sometimes I close my eyes and imagine the sunrise over the city I once knew, the gentle warmth on my skin, the sound of laughter in the park, the smell of fresh coffee wafting through the air. Every day I confront the repercussions of a single, reckless choice made in my youth that altered my life forever. I often wonder if I will even recognize the world outside. Technology has changed so much, and friends have faded into memories like whispers in the dark. Yet amid my longing for freedom, I cling to hope, a hope that I can reclaim my life, that the mistakes of my past do not define the man I wish to become. Freedom looms tantalizingly close, but it feels like a dream trapped just outside my reach. Chapter 11. The Weight of Reflection, Jerome. In this poignant entry, Jerome, a long-term inmate, grapples with the decades spent within prison walls, reflecting on the moments that shaped him. As he stares at the peeling paint of his cell, he recalls his youthful dreams, now distant echoes drowned by the echoes of the prison yard. The world outside has changed dramatically. Technology advances, societal norms shift, and friends have come and gone, with some even losing their lives. Each day feels like a reminder of lost opportunities, yet he finds solace in the wisdom he's gained through introspection. Jerome contemplates the weight of his past actions and their impact on his family and community. Amid the shadows of regret, he also feels a glimmer of hope for reintegration, envisioning himself navigating a world that has moved on without him. In these reflective moments, he learns the importance of self-forgiveness and the possibility of starting over, even from the depths of despair. Chapter 12. Diary Entry 6. Visions of Change. In this chapter, Ayesha, a dedicated social worker, shares her experiences within the prison, capturing the raw emotions she encounters. As she walks through the sterile hallways, the sound of her footsteps echoes, a metaphor for the barriers between worlds, inside and outside. She describes the inmates not merely as offenders, but as individuals seeking change, each with a story that yearns to be heard. Ayesha recalls a workshop where she introduced mindfulness techniques, witnessing the inmates' initial skepticism transform into genuine engagement. One woman, in particular, expressed how the practice provided her with a rare moment of peace. Ayesha emphasizes the power of human connection, revealing that her interactions often remind her of the resilience buried within each person. With unwavering hope, she encourages listeners to see beyond prison walls, advocating for rehabilitation rooted in empathy and understanding, believing firmly in the potential for every individual to rewrite their narrative. Chapter 13. Moments of Empathy. As Ayesha walks through the dimly lit corridors of the prison, she carries with her a sense of purpose. Each week, she conducts workshops on personal development, hoping to ignite a spark of self-discovery within the inmates. One afternoon, she sits across from a young woman named Maya, who reluctantly shares her fears about life outside. Tears glisten in Maya's eyes as she reveals her longing for her daughter, while expressing doubts about her ability to be a good mother post-release. Ayesha listens intently, offering words of encouragement and drawing on her own experiences to instill hope. In this moment, a powerful connection is forged, reminding Ayesha of the transformative potential of empathy. Through shared stories and vulnerable conversations, inmates begin to see themselves not as their past mistakes, but as individuals capable of change and redemption, fostering an environment of support that transcends prison walls.